not for lack of trying. I got hung up on twice calling to figure out where my bag is.
Yeah. How'd that make you feel?
Not great. I'm gonna be honest with you. But the real jokes on the people from Air Canada, which I'll get into on stream because I think you're gonna find it's gonna be real funny. But
Mm.
anyways, it's been a hectic week. I'm ready to enjoy this 9.5% beer that I bought on a whim,
Woofy.
and I get ready to get ripped. I think cigarettes are gonna be involved this weekend
Oh,
potentially.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Does Jared still smoke?
Oh, I'm sure if you get enough in him, he still smokes.
Okay. Because I know he used to be a real deal McCoy. Hold on, let me move this back a little bit. Nice to be back in the studio after what, a week and a half
Yeah, yeah, for
for
sure.
me.
It's been a while, and then you're just leaving tomorrow with me to go do it more, and then next week you're doing it again to Kansas City, and then maybe you get a week break before the wedding.
Yeah. No, well, I have 2 weekends in between, which is
Okay.
nice. And then I thought I was gonna have like a month in between. I was like, maybe I'll go to Chicago. I'm flying to Ann Arbor for a work meeting, and then that weekend of the first week in October, I'm flying Ann Arbor to Charlotte to Nashville for a rugby
Wow,
game.
that's
So
asinine.
it just don't stop, man. The party just don't stop.
Just don't stop. All
It
right.
just
Well,
don't stop.
let's get this recording going because I know the people
Yeah.
here, they want the brews and the builds. So this recording's going to start in three, two, one.
Oh, I can't hear. You need to give me the cue. I can't hear it.
And
All
here
right,
you go.
here we go. Try it out. I'll see how you dancing out there. Uh, Back on the alcohol, but more importantly, back on this.
How does that feel?
Oh, it's felt great. I've been hammering him this whole week. I didn't bring him to Canada, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find anything up there except for long cuts, which is gross.
Oh man, that's too funny.
Oof.
Um, well, hello everyone. Welcome to CMD Towers Brews and Builds. As you know, I'm Mr. Comment Number Five, and
Woo!
my fellow host is gonna be Raggadraggan after this weekend, a BigTuck.
I thought you were gonna introduce me as the man of the match. Come on, or the forward of the match. How dare you?
I
Uh,
know.
no, I'm good. For those who don't know, I was in Canada for an extra day, sleeping in a Holiday Inn Express next to a Perkins,
Ooh.
which was nice. It was the first time in my life that a flight got canceled or something, and
Hmm.
they put us up in an airport for free.
Oh, they're
So,
supposed to do that.
have you? Has that happened to you before?
Yeah, I usually just tell them no because it's usually some shitty ass hotel that's like 20 minutes away, and I'm like, nah, I'm
This
good.
one wasn't. This one wasn't so bad, and they also gave us like $20 of travel vouchers, but it's in Canadian money, so it's actually like $35 worth of travel vouchers. So I got like a steak at Perkins and a glass of milk, and I was like, "All right, time to go to bed, I guess." Then we got up
Wow.
in the morning, and our text message when we got up said, "Your flight's been canceled, and you're on a later one." So suffice to say, I still don't have my checked bag that I put there, and I think one of the reasons why is because the 4-day rugby tournament went Thursday. Then I got food poisoning, was out for a whole day, and that was a whole thing which we don't need to get into. Played Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. It rained, and it was like 90 degrees. So by the time we finished warm ups, we were like drenched, right?
Yeah.
So that was Sunday morning. So I had to pack everything Sunday night when I
Ew.
got back and put it into my checked bag to sit there. And that bag has been checked somewhere since Monday morning. It's somewhere out
Oh, that
there
that bag is
with
gonna smell so bad.
with a literal like football case full of my wet cleats, my wet jersey, my wet body armor, my wet shoulder brace.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so gross. I'm really hoping I can wash. I'll be able to wash that out, but who knows? Who can say?
Man,
But anyways,
that
that's me. I'm really excited about this weekend to celebrate you. But how are you doing, Mr. Combo? I feel like I haven't talked to you or seen you in like 2 weeks.
well, you haven't seen me in 2 weeks, but, we've talked a little bit, obviously you being in another country and doing your
Yeah.
travels, but, no, I'm good. I'm just excited for the weekend. I actually
Yeah.
went and bought Eric a pre-con, which I'm pissed at myself for because I literally have that pre-con sitting on my shelf and I
Wait,
never
which
plan on
one?
building it. The Boros Commander from Commander Legends? No, not Commander Legends. It would have been one of the sets after. It's like you get to draw a card for each ore and equipment attached to it when it deals combat
Oh,
damage.
yeah. The blade one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why at the
So
blade or something? Yeah, I have that.
yeah,
That's one I'm bringing. That's in my pre-con 3-pack that I have as well.
yeah, I got it, and I think I swapped out about 10 cards to make it a little bit
Nice.
better. Nothing like
Does
expensive,
does
but
does he know how to play?
no. So that's the other reason I did the pre-con is because we're all on the same flight to Knoxville. I'm gonna give him like the little pamphlet that they
Oh,
give like
insert. Yeah.
inside, yeah, and be like, okay, read this. And then I have like cards in the front that's like creature, land, instant, sorcery, enchantment, planeswalker, artifact, just so he can kind of like look at them and just get to know it. Because he's already kind of made the comment of like, oh God, you guys aren't even gonna want me to play because I won't know what I'm doing. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Like
Yeah.
we'll
Who cares?
absolutely teach you. But
Are you bringing Star Wars? Are you bringing
I I
X-Men or Dark Knight or whatever?
I think what you're asking, am I bringing Star Wars or DC for like the
Yes.
flavor games?
Right.
Um, I've been thinking about it. I wanted to talk to you about that while we recorded, just real quick. Should I bring Plane Chase in those just to have variation
Yeah,
stuff?
I'm if I already have Plane Chase loaded.
Oh,
I have
cool,
Plane Chase. I have Plane Chase and Kingdoms, which is like the
sweet.
base one that we've
Yep.
done before. I got that loaded in mine. Don't even worry about it.
Do you have the
Um,
full Plane Chase set though? Because I remember you and I
yeah,
talking about that. Okay,
yeah. I have the one that came from Plane Chase Anthology. I got them all.
sweet.
So they're in a box. I got that. I'm also gonna be bringing some non-MTG games just in case we need a break.
I'm also bringing a Switch as well. Hi. I think your audio cut out, buddy. Well, for our Twitch viewers, we're having a slight technical difficulty. We'll be right back. Sorry for YouTube and audio. We're going to have to redo this one quick
Yep.
time.
Oh, I see.
Hey, what's up, audio, YouTube, and Twitch? Twitch and YouTube's hearing this for the second time. Welcome to Brews and Builds
We're back.
153. I'm Mr. Commodore 5, and my fellow host is going to be Raggadragga after this weekend, BigTuck. I know we
No,
did
still
a bunch
alive.
of he's still alive. There's a bunch of banter, about 5 minutes worth. If you guys want to catch that, go watch us on Twitch or YouTube when this is recorded. But effectively, where we kind of ended is Tuck and I were talking about my bachelor party this weekend, the games that we're going
Woo!
to be bringing. And Tuck, I am bringing my Switch. I made sure all the games were updated, and we have
Okay.
Jackbox 1 through 8 on there.
I don't need to bring mine then, which
Nope,
was what I was going to ask. Okay,
you're
cool.
good.
Are you sure? Because I can do Jackbox. I can download it, and then that's one less thing you have to pack.
Well, I'm gonna be bringing it in anyway, so I can play with it on the plane. So
Oh, okay. Hey,
yeah,
what are you gonna be playing? What are you gonna be playing?
probably just Smash Bros.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Wait, are you still Link? Who's your guy?
Yeah, I still use Link. I mean, I honestly haven't played Smash Bros in probably like 6 months, so I'm probably like the worst person to be like, hey, who do you main as? Because
Yeah,
I
who's
don't
your guy?
really main as anyone.
Who's your guys? All right,
Who's your
fair enough.
guys?
Who's your guys?
Well, everyone, Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we have conquered the path to 32, the 12 themes of EDH decks, we are doing a little bit of decks, or wait, Ghosts of Decks Past. And this
Yes.
will be a way that BigTuck and I can analyze past traditional Brews and Builds decks. But it's been years. Let's give it a fresh coat of paint and see how and where we can take it. But the spirit of Brews and Builds is still here. So we broke this down into the 4 different categories. And the first one's rampant setting your board state. We call that grain.
And grains are the foundation of every beer. They include both base malts and specialty malts, usually in a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, the taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of the beer. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp beer into bigger threats. And just like a grain profile, they use a mix of staples and specialty cards.
How does your board interact with all of your opponents? We call that hops.
And hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors. They grow in a variety of strands and help distinguish subcategories like IPAs. Our hop choices help clearly interact with the board so your deck can ultimately do what it wants.
How does your deck actually close out or win? We call that yeast.
And yeast are living microorganisms that that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds alcohol content and carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then do we have a fun section called shenanigans? To be pet cards, random synergies that are in the deck that are just kind of fun. We call that spice.
And just like this Voodoo Force IPA, there's not a whole lot of these, not a whole lot of spices in this build here. So not every beer has them, but spices and additives help separate normal stock beers. Some specialty ones could be the pepper that turns a stout into jalapeno stout, or the addition of hops that turn IPA into a double IPA. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, is where we generally talk about it.
And then to wrap up the episode, we do have a bottle capping. And these will be Big Tucks and I's cuts and adds to the deck that'll be under $5, under $50, and a no budget recommendation. We just can't talk about mana only lands. So without further ado, let's get brewing. Like we said, this is another Ghosts of Decks Pass. And I'm going to try to take a shot at this. We're talking Raggadragga Goreguts Boss. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Raggadragga, baby. Yes, this is my new gruul baby. So, should I go ahead and read out the commander?
Absolutely. Read it out, and then why don't you read out that like little description you typed up? Because I actually
Sure.
thought that was super helpful.
Well, thank you. I had fun. I had fun with that. So, Raggadragga Goreguts Boss is 2 colorless, a red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature human board. That's a rare from Baldur's Gate. Each creature you control with a mana ability gets +2/+2. Whenever a creature you control with a mana ability attacks, untap it, and then whenever you cast a spell, if at least 7 mana was spent to cast it, untap target creature. It gains +7/+7 and gains trample until end of turn. 22 cents, so kind of a budget build for commander, and this is where I came up with. So you would think that gruul, being 2/3 of Jund, aka the best color ever, would be a slam dunk color combination for me, but it's always one I really struggled to build. My previous deck, Wort the Raid Mother, pretty much became obsolete when Calamax came out, as actually having the access to blue and a commander that can actually just punch through the red zone was way more my style, and I really like that deck quite a bit. So I decided to scratch the repeated copy spells, bring on the mana dorks, and have commander with a fun name on it to boot. So I pretty much had 3 goals when I was trying to build this guy. So one is play out mana dorks, control the board early and ramp out. The pseudo vigilance gives you a lot of blockers early on.
Oh yeah.
You can dig in for some chip damage and that sort of thing. Hold up defense. Kind of play around with your mana a little bit. Then get out additional green support, specifically big mana spells, some draws, all that other stuff. Pretty much, I mean, green is by far the best color in Magic. So when you say bring in the green stuff, it's everything.
Yeah.
And then finally have a few big spells that I'm hoping either to pump Raggadragga up big or just be able to funnel some of the mana into. The struggle I'm having with this deck, I have built this in paper. I played it a few times. I didn't spend a single red cent into this. This is just stuff I had lying around.
Okay.
is that it's fun and it's way more enjoyable than Wort, right? It's definitely more interactive, but I'm
Sure.
struggling a little bit with how many mana dorks do you want to run in there, right? How many big spells do you want to have? I'm trying to do more fun things built around that and try to stay away from just the more generic green good stuff cards. My mono green deck, which is the Teddy Ruxpin, the no creature abilities, it has to have a lot of those good stuff cards. So I don't
Yeah.
want to have a repeat of that. But I'm hoping to try to find some better loops and that sort of thing in here. But like I said, I played this once or twice. It actually is really fun to play. It's definitely more my style, punching in, playing some big spells. Unfortunately, I have to play a bunch of elves, which is not my favorite tribe. Although I will say this, I think I've decided Slivers, least favorite of all time. Least
Really?
favorite tribe of all time.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. I'm
I
glad I'm
hate it.
bringing it this weekend.
Great. Can't wait. But yeah, so that's it. This is so far has been much more enjoyable than Wart. But what did you think looking through it? You know, I know this is fresh to you, and you didn't have your normal 4 to 6 business days to peruse it like we usually do because again, I was stuck in Canada.
Sure, sure. Yep. And I have heard when you're stuck in Canada, it is like Russia. They cut you off from the internet. You have no
Ev-
ability to research
Everything
everything.
can't do it.
Uh, so here's the thing. I actually did notice, and I don't know if maybe this is just an area of magic that you need to brush up on, because I actually had to do it. You actually have cards in here that we would qualify as mana dorks, but they actually aren't mana abilities. So
Yes.
they,
Okay. So yes. So I there's a few in here that we'll get to at a later point.
yes, we will.
Yes. Yes. There's so yes, it took me. Trust me, I have learned that the hard way. Did you? So did you also look at them and be like, wait a minute, like I have
Yep.
some questions here. Okay,
Yep.
so you had to do your research as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I did
Okay,
notice
good.
that. I noted some non-synergies you have in the deck with certain cards wanting to interact with other cards, and it
Okay,
doesn't
yeah,
work in the traditional sense. So I actually think that you have, let's just call it some fat or flubber that just needs to
oh
get cut
yeah,
out of the deck, not because it's like sweaty or there's better cards. It just genuinely doesn't fit what the deck is trying to do at all.
yeah,
So for me, it was actually kind of easy to look at it with fresh eyes because as soon as I saw, like, oh, well, there's like 4 to 8 cards in here that we could snap cut just because they don't fit what Raggadragga wants to do.
right.
And once I got to that, it was like, oh, well, I see the bangers in the deck. We just now need to
Right.
add those additional 4 to 8 that just put it over the top.
And I agree, like that's the total thing. Cause like especially in the yeast package, there's some in here that are just complete juice, right?
Yep.
And even playing the deck in this state of sort of in between, as I'd like to call it, right?
Hmm.
Like in between, like this is effectively a pre-con that I have now, right?
Yep.
And like in between scaling it up and getting better, there's just a few changes that I'm gonna need to make here. But I'm glad you at least you saw the bangers I tried to throw in here for funsies.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from a deck perspective, it's a 3-3-1 without lands because I'm not a madman and I don't care about with lands. I know Cameron, I know some people care. And then from a deck symbol perspective, you're pretty damn good. Like 72% of your entire deck
Yeah.
has green symbols, and 77% of your deck can produce green mana. So that's pretty great. I'm assuming that's kind of how that breaks down. And then on the red
Yeah.
side, 32% of the deck is red, and 57% of the deck can produce red mana. So I definitely see where you're going to have like this a flux of what usually we call big
Yeah.
daddy black mana.
Yes.
Usually black produces tons out of nowhere.
And
And I could
and luckily on the mana front, like I already had a close to good. Like I have almost every dual land and everything that I need for my previous deck because I had it for so
sure,
long. So that part made it really easy.
awesome. Well, I think we have. Oh, and then from a deck cost perspective, what's it going to cost for the current build of this bad boy?
Currently, it's 252,
Okay.
which is which is decent again because I didn't spend a red cent on any of this
Yeah.
stuff. So like it's getting to the point now where I'm going through my big deck reconstruction that even when I build a fresh deck, it's like usually over $200 just because I have all this stuff lying around.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I think and it's so blasé to say, but when you're a seasoned Magic player and you've been buying cards for 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 10 years, you end up just having like, oh yeah, I was able to throw this together. How much is your deck worth? $300. And
Yeah, right.
it just happens. It's like, sorry, I just have a lot of cards that are $3, $4, $5. I can't help it. I've just collected over the years.
I was going through my binder, updating some decks to bring this weekend, and it's like, oh, I just have 3 gray packs lying around that aren't in decks. Like they're just sitting around.
Oh,
So
I thought that meant you were
it's
a
just
decent human being then.
Dictate Erebos is just better. I don't know what to tell you.
All
Right? I
right.
think it is.
Well, before we head over to our first section, we would love for everyone to check out our great patron, patreon.com/CMD Tower. You can see it there at the scrolling top if you're watching us on video. Dollar, 5, 15, 25, all the funds that go to that go to the monthly cost to actually keep this channel up and running. It goes to increase the technology we're using, like you can see now on video, or if you're listening to us audio, you might sprint to YouTube to watch us. We now are doing card displays up live while we're recording.
Oh, it looks great.
That was only enabled because you guys were continuing to invest in us. Plus, me and Tuck and SD Sharpie will be at M30 handing out CMD Tower playtest cards with QR codes and custom art, and all of those funds come from Patreon. So just please, whatever you guys can do, patreon.com/CMD Tower. Plus, you get opportunities to actually be on the show. Who doesn't want that?
The gift that keeps on giving.
So let's head over to the grains. And Big Tuck, you're going to start us out. What's the first grain card that you think is worth highlighting here?
So this is a card that recently spiked. I was really excited because I had like 3 copies of it, and then it got reprinted and plummeted. Which I think this card is really fun in the right decks, but
Okay.
here this is something that can just quickly accelerate you as soon as you get Raggadragga down, because it has the ability to untap itself
Oh, yeah,
for
it does.
a pittance. Oh yeah, it does.
Oh,
Are you
yeah, it
ready?
does.
Are we doing this?
3, 2, 1. Devoted
Devoted
Druid.
Druid. Yes.
Boom!
Ah! It's amazing. We got a colorless and a green for a creature elf druid that's an 0/2. Why would it be that way? Well, let me tell you. You tap it for a green. Then you can put a -1/-1 counter on it, untap it. Nailed it. So
It's so
Raggadragga comes
silly.
down. It gives it +2/+2. So now you can just get 3 immediate. If you want, you can burst through, get 4 green mana, and
Yep.
you're off to the races with it. It's so strong. This was a card when I played it that I went through and got sort of board wiped and couldn't come back. And then I drew this. Like I played my commander next turn, drew this or something there, and I was like, okay, I can play every card in my hand. Like I don't even care. Like I'm just gonna run this out, and this card's just gonna do bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, this card with Raggadragga makes Raggadragga cost a single red because it's 2
Yeah,
gruul.
exactly.
Like, that is stupid. The amount of value you get with this, and you have enough synergy throughout the deck, Tuck, that I genuinely believe that you'll be able to either put plus counters on there to negate the minus counters, or just be
Right.
able to get it
Yes.
just end of turn buffs to where you'll be able to burst it out again. Especially if you're able to do the 7 mana
Oh
spell
yeah.
with Raggadragga and give the +7. That's just
Just go.
7 additional.
Just go back in, baby. We're going back in. I'm going back in.
Oh my
It's
gosh!
so good.
Technically, if you're only casting green 7 drops, you could go infinite as long as you kept getting
Oh,
7. That's so
I don't
silly.
know. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
A-
There it
All
is.
right.
Number 1.
So, my second card I wanted to talk about is actually a pretty common card that a lot of people play. I'm usually pretty poo pooey on it, but in here, it gets you to draw cards, and you're playing a lot of creatures. You're gonna get to draw a lot. But I think with Raggadragga's +2/+2, you're just gonna naturally get its ferocious effect without even trying. So we are talking Shamanic Revolution. Revelation.
Oh, yes. Yeah, oh yeah.
3 colorless, green, green, sorcery. Draw a card for each creature you control. And like I said, ferocious. You gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. So this isn't some sneaky card that you guys don't know about.
No.
But most people look at it and they're like, okay, what's the ceiling? I might get to draw, or I might get to draw 6 cards, but maybe I'm only gaining 8 life. In
Right.
here, I think whatever amount of cards you draw, it's going to be pretty close to that same number on how much life you're going to gain per creature. So if you're drawing 6, you're
Right.
probably gaining, what is that, 24?
24. Yeah. And we're gonna get to the and the pump is good enough for most of it, but we're gonna get to. I think there's things in the spice package that I'm interested in talking about that really care about creatures' power, because I think that's where this deck is really going to accelerate through, right? So with a few tinkerings, I think having our 1/1s get to 4s shouldn't be that hard with Raggadragga out. Raggadragga.
Yeah.
Oh, Raggadragga.
Oh, Raggadragga. All right,
Oh,
Tuck. Well,
Raggadragga.
what's your second card?
So this was a card that I thought was really cool when it first got printed. It's a new-ish one. It's a 1-drop, and it's one of the rare non-elves, non-green, quote unquote mana producers.
Mm.
We talked up front about how there's certain things that don't get around that ability, but I believe my understanding is that this is one that does, and it becomes a real punch in the mouth once you start souping it up.
Hmm.
And it's not a good little baby. It's not a good little baby cat, but it could be a real nasty treasure dog. We're talking Goldhound, baby. Amazing. It's like
Oh my
it's like I think
goodness.
it's my favorite card in the deck. What, you don't like it? It's
No,
incredible.
it's cute, I guess. And you
It's
are right.
amazing.
It is a mana ability, so that works.
It work. This actually works. This one, there's a few in here that I got fact checked on, but this one actually works. So 1 red for an artifact creature treasure dog for 1/1. First strike, great blocker. Menace, getting in that chip damage. We talked about how that's important. And then lastly, if you need it in a pinch, tap, sack, add 1 mana of any color. I think this is amazing. I thought I want this card to work because it's a treasure, and I think my new thing is just treasures. Half the decks I do, half the decks I do deal with treasures. It's not my fault.
What do you mean it's your fault? There are thousands of Magic the Gathering cards printed in existence that you're able to pick from. I guarantee you the word treasure is maybe only on 200 of them.
Right, but if in Rakdos specifically, all the good cards are treasure cards.
Just be
Am I
better, I
wrong?
guess.
Well, you're not wrong there. So I like the fact that this is a 3/3 for 1. It reminds me of playing like Curd Ape back in the day and that sort of thing. Gets in that damage when you need it, and then also can sacrifice itself just to get something else out if you need that as well. So for me, again, cutesy card, but I love it. I love my little boy. I love my little boy. There, you said it.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any way to get it back from the graveyard once you use it?
I, well, look, this is we're not getting into the details here, right? Like, I do
Oh,
have one
okay.
card, I think, but the spice nonetheless.
Jeez.
But that's not the point. The point is it's a 3/3 first striker menace for 1. Let's go.
All right. Well, my last green card is a saga from Neon Dynasty.
Yes, it is. This card is
Oh my
also
gosh.
incredible.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Jogan defends
Jugen
the
defends
temple.
the temple. Let's go.
So
It's
good.
incredible. It's incredible.
So good. This
How
is
about
two.
you read the front? I'll read the back.
You got it. 2 colorless
All right, cool.
green. As the saga enters the battlefield, and after your draw step, add a lore counter. So it's a mythic. The first step. So essentially, when you play it, team, create a 1/1 human monk creature token with tap. Add a green.
Check that.
Stage 2.
3/3.
Yeah. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Okay, make our mana dorks a little bit bigger. And then 3, exile the saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. And Big Tuck, what does it transform as?
And this is where it really goes. The Remnant of the Rising Star, an enchantment creature, dragon spirit. It's a 2/2 flyer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. If when you do, put X 1/1 counters on that creature. As long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, Remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and has trample. It's so easy. So
So
I
good.
don't know. I it kind of turned it turned out that I have a sort of sub theme of 1/1 counters in this, which I think is really valuable. Again, to pump those creatures up a little bit more, make them a
Hmm.
little easier and a little bit more resilient. So the fact that you can just dump these things, you can just dump stuff onto it. I think worst case scenario or like mid case scenario for me is you do the front half, Raggadragga gets killed, you cast on
Yeah.
the command, and with all your leftover mana dorks, that you have, you just dump it into that. Then Raggadragga comes down as like a 6, 7, 8. And then it's even easier if you can pump them up with a 7 to get them even that much bigger to swing in with that trample damage.
So
So
are you trying to like flip this as soon as possible? Like if you had ways to manipulate it, would you do that?
I think so, right? Like
Yeah.
this is something that I would snap play. Like, if I can play, I think I want to play this as soon as possible because, like, I think the worst ability is the second, just
Okay.
because it's the most narrowest, right? Like getting the creature out the front is great, even though you're paying kind of a little bit of the iron price for it.
Hmm.
But getting it flipping over and then starting to put counters onto all your mana dorks that you're playing out with all the excess mana you have lying around from the Elvis Archdruids of the world and that sort of thing.
Sure.
I think that's where this really can take off.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, that's going to wrap up our grain section. Now, before we head over to the next one, we would love for you guys to check out our Etsy store at etsy.com/CMD Tower. Actually, sorry, etsy.com. Just type CMD Tower into the search bar. You'll be able to find our complete store on there. And if you are going to be at M30, you can avoid any shipping costs if you just place an order and do a local pickup, because we do offer that for the Kansas City people. Just put a note in there. Hey, I'm going to be at M30 in Vegas, and I would like to pick it up then. We'd be happy to bring the stuff down and hand it to you while there. And hey, maybe even play a game together. So whether it's one of our Jund sweaters, hey, we're talking rack or gruul here, just a little color off. But we got our Jund holiday sweaters, the foil playmats, everything you might need, even tokens, flipping coins, all the good stuff. So just remember etsy.com, CMD Tower in the search bar. Now we're going to head over to the hot section. And
Oh.
the first card I wanted to talk about, I really, really like. It's an X spell. It has a surge cost, which is pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be using that surge cost pretty frequently. Are we doing it? Oh, all right. We're talking Fall of the Titans. Really like this.
Yes. So good.
XX red instant. Fall of the Titans deals X damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or players, but we're going to be doing it for its surge cost. And the thing I like about that is because of the fact that we can swing with our dorks, which might generate mana if there's like a Grand Warlord Radha, something like
Yeah.
that. Then we, in that next main phase, they're all untapped. Boom, tap out and just do, X for just God who knows how much.
Absolutely. This was a tough one because I I think this could potentially sneak into the yeast as well, right? Like the
Yeah,
2 targets could be good, but I just don't have a lot of creature removal in here. So I could see this being like zapping a problematic commander if I need
yeah.
to, that sort of thing. And then late game, this turns into one of those yeast spells. I I Let me get your honest opinion. Do you think that there are enough X spells in here or not enough?
I don't think you want to live off the X spells, to be honest.
Okay.
The way
Okay.
that you play, I think you would have more fun instead of doing X spells, doing like multiple 7+ drop, just stupid big
Yes.
creature type things. I think you'd have more
Okay.
fun with that.
I agree. And that's why, and also a lot of the X spells is my win con in Wort. So trying to make it more fun and make it a different deck, I try to
Yeah,
cut a few of them out, but keep in ones that I think have a lot of value in them.
makes sense. All right. Well, Tuck, what is your first hop card?
So this is an interesting one, and I haven't gotten to play it yet. But I think this has some upside, especially in protecting my commander and especially potentially buffing up some of my creatures. And with my
Yep.
sub theme, okay, are we doing this?
I'm pretty sure we are.
All right. Does it feel like something that could come out of a worm slash caterpillar?
It does.
Call it, baby. Three,
2,
two,
1. Silk
Silk
Guard.
Guard, baby. It's so good. I think it's good. I think it's really good.
I do too.
Especially for the price. So Silk Guard X, colorless, and a green for an instant. Put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures you control. But that's not it, is it, Mr. Combo? Is there more text on this
No.
card?
Oh man. Well, it turns out with Silk Guard, if an aura, equipment, and modified creature you control, they also gain hexproof until end of turn. So
Right.
all the ones that got the counters all get hexproof.
And we also have the other sub themes of 1/1 counters, potentially getting those hexproof as well. I like this because I didn't have a spare heroic invention, but I still like this because, like we said, getting creatures up to, I think, I think getting our dorks up to 4 instead of just 3 is a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Like that gets it out of the range of a lot of tokens. It gets out of the range of a lot of lower to the ground value creatures. So I want to play this. I want to play this defensively, but I could see this also potentially being an offensive card, getting things out of lightning bolt range, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% see this as a save your butt. I don't see this as a
Yeah,
win, a way to win, only
yeah,
because you can only put one counter on up to X. It'd be
yeah.
different if it was like pick one or the other, either put a +1/+1 on X creatures or X +1/+1s on one creature. Like that could be like
Oh
a cool
yeah,
way
yeah,
where
yeah.
maybe you could do it, but no, this is a great card and literally 2 mana you protect your commander and it gets bigger by 1. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm here for it.
86 cents nonetheless too, right? So I think this is
Yep.
like a really I think this is about as good of a less than a dollar heroic intervention than you're gonna be able to find.
Yep.
So I'm definitely here for it.
All right. Well, my final card is a very popular enchantment. It's an 8 drop, which is why I wanted to talk about it because it does trigger. Oh my, are you kidding
Put it
me?
on the list. Shortest episode ever.
3, 2, 1. Sandworm
Sandworm
Convergence.
convergence. Yes.
Jesus. 6 colorless green
How do you
green
not?
enchantment. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalker use control, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token.
Oh, oh, and
Oh,
it's like, so there are, so this is where I really struggled in here, right? And this is just with shit I had lying around, right?
yeah.
I really struggled finding 7 and up cards. I really did, of just stuff I had lying
You
around.
struggled finding
In
7 Up?
terms,
It's always in the soda aisle. Ba-dum.
oh, do you remember those 7 Up Yours commercials with
Kind of.
Orlando Bloom? Where it's like
Kind of.
he had a jersey that said make 7 and then on the back it said up yours. So everyone walking behind him is like, "Hey, up yours too, asshole." You don't remember these?
Kind of. Very vaguely.
Okay. That's a problem. Is like the 7, the 6, I think the 6 is like my sweet spot and the 7 and up is better. But again, I don't think it matters because this is a card that like this is a card like we talked I think at length about in Joda 2 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like getting this card down on 5 is like unbeatable, right?
Yep.
Or maybe not unbeatable, but it's just so brutal. Being able to get this out early and prevent people and pump when you need it. I think this is like one of the most useful cards in the deck in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
this is a card when I draw it, I'm freaking psyched.
Well, especially because your commander does that whole +7 and the myriad of effects when you get it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is, like, it's always cool in Commander to get a big CMC card, but traditionally, if you end up casting it, it's using your entire turn, and you're not getting anything else out of it.
Yeah,
So the
right.
fact that it's like you're getting those additional benefits of, "Oh, no, you do that, yeah, you might tap out, but now you have this ultra powerful permanent or spell, and then on top of that your commander is doing a buff for 7 and doing all of
Yeah.
these trample and all the good stuff. And so that's just where I think Raggadragga is just it makes it really cool because every big spell is exciting because it's more than just
Right.
itself.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, Tuck, you're apparently just going to give us a single one here, and there's no way I can match with it. Zero chance. Impossible.
You know what it's gonna be, right? You know what it's gonna have to be. There's only one option left.
Oh my God. Is it something that gives Monarch that I miss?
Sure, it absolutely is. Dawnguard Regent, baby! Fits the bill across the board. You laughed at me. You've laughed at me in the past, and we finally found it. Slam dunk. Slam dunk
I'm so.
card in here. Five colorless, double green, 7 mana on the nose for an 8/8
It
elk.
fits.
When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch, and then as long as you're the monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. It's like a silk guard for free. 7 mana on the nose. I'm gonna get this out as fast as possible, and we're back to the basics. And it's an 8/8. Who gives a shit if it doesn't get +2/+2? Who cares? Actually, even better, put +7/+7 on this thing, give it trample, rip, and it's got hexproofs because you're gonna have the monarch. I'm getting it back. I'm not letting you sit around on that. It's gonna be amazing. And just for those playing the home game, this weekend we are doing. I think I'm bringing all the decks I have that have Monarch, 100%. I'm bringing all the decks that have Initiative. It's going to be great. So this is the one where you in To be fair, in the past, you've yelled at me about putting this into decks because it is expensive and it's just a shoehorn into the Monarch. But this deck, it actually works. It fits that 7+ bill. As soon as I was looking through my binder trying to build this bad boy, I knew this was going to be a slam dunk in here.
I'm not mad at it because it actually makes sense because
Fits the bill.
giving your permanents hexproof is extremely powerful. But here's the other thing, though. Okay, let's just say your commander only did that bottom effect where it's a 7-drop. I still feel like that's a little sweaty for me. But it's the fact that your mana dorks are getting to untap and have vigilance. That's actually where I
Right.
think this works because giving all of your permanents hexproof is powerful, but you're always going to have to be swinging. And so when you get the Monarch inevitably
Yes.
stolen from you, you will always be throwing your creatures back at that person. And the cool thing is that they're going to be a little leery to block because all of those mana dorks are going to be untapped. And it's like, okay, I'm swinging
Exactly.
at you. And it's like, okay, well, how much could you technically tap for? And it's like, 9. Do you want to block? Probably
Yeah.
not.
What's next, right? Like,
Yeah.
what else could happen? So I agree. Like I said, this is a sweaty card in other decks, but in here we did it. We finally found the spot for it.
Yeah, that is one way to phrase it for sure. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap up the hops package. Now, before we head over to the yeast, we would love for you guys to check out abyssproxyshop.com using code CMD Tower, and that actually is a legitimate code to get you 10% off your order. They're a playtest provider out there. If you actually go to our link tree, you'll actually see where their custom catalog is. So if you wanted to build like my Game of Thrones deck or Mystical Archive deck or any of the other custom cards that people in the community have requested, you'll be able to see them on there. Guys, even without our discount, they're between $3 and $6 for
Yep.
non-foil to foil. They're super cheap, really good quality. It's the exact cards that we're going to be passing out at Magic 30 here at the end of October with all of our info on it. So, and every sale you do using our code, and you have to use our code, we do get a little bit back to the channel, so that way we can help continuing to improve the content. So, if you're looking for some expensive cards that you'd like to be able to put in multiple decks, just remember abyssproxyshop.com using code CMD Tower. Now we're going to head over to see how this deck wins games in Yeast. And BigTuck, why don't you start us off? What's the first just punch him in the mouth card you want to talk about?
How do I want to sequence this?
Oh my god. What is there a stack that I'm not aware of?
No, I'm just trying to think of. All right. Hold it, please. 1 second. I just hold on. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're still good. All right. This has been a card I've liked a really long time. And I've seen this card rise from 30 cents to now over an entire dollar for a mythic rare. It's a boar.
I hate you. I hate you so damn much.
Wait, is this yours too?
Yes.
3, 2,
2,
1.
1. Decimator of the
Decimator
Provinces.
of the Provinces. Woo!
God.
It's a big old piggy baby boy. Yeah, see, you get it's amazing. So I'll take this one because there's a lot to read here. So 10 colorless, so you get your trigger there. It also has this bizarre thing called Emerge, which is 6 colorless, triple green. You may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost reduced by that creature's converted mana cost. When you cast Decimator of the Provinces, creatures you control gain +2/+2 and gain trample to end a turn. It's a 7/7 with trample and haste. Budget builds, all on the nose. It's all right there on the card. I fucking love this card, and it's finally come to roost. Everyone's like, "Why don't you play this? Why don't you play that?" And for those people out there, I say, "Suck it." This thing is going to come in and punch you. This is going to come win you the game. Like I really think that's how this is going to work out.
Sure, but isn't technically Craterhoof just better?
Now you have a great point there, and I'm not arguing it. And I literally just looked up. It's like, now wait a minute, is it Crater? Is it Craterhoof like 6 or something? It is not.
It's 8.
It is actually better. And now my next job is to figure out where my Craterhoof behemoth is, because I guarantee you I have one and only one. So
Oh, did you not do
we're
that
back
secret
to the
layer where they
races.
passed out crater hoofs like candy?
No, 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 no.
They gave you two in there.
I can't do secret layers anymore. I literally just got a secret layer in the mail from, I think I ordered 4 years ago, and it's all just sitting on up over there somewhere. So I really got to stop. I really got to stop with that. So somewhere in my collection, I do have a crater hoof. I think it's good, but this made for the provinces for $1.69 does a great job of faking it.
All right. Well, my second Yeast card, I guarantee we've probably matched on this. Some people would call Elon Musk this of industry. He's one of those of industry.
Yes, I know. I duped you. I gotcha.
Oh, okay, good. We're talking Titan of Industry. So,
Yeah,
Titan of
baby.
Industry is a 4 colorless green, green, green creature elemental mythic. It's a 7/7. Reach trample when it ETBs, choose 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Put a shield counter on a creature you control. I like this because it's going to trigger the commander. And to be honest, I'm going to guess, Tuck, that when you're casting this, just because it is 7, and I get it, your deck can produce mana, but regardless,
Sure.
I feel like you're doing the last 2. You're doing the shield counter, and you're getting
Yep.
the 4/4 green creature token, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Almost every time. It's really strong. I got to play this, and it did save my life. It did save my bacon. I think this is a card that probably I don't think this card sees any commander play it, right? Because it's kind of like, why
I
would it?
Yeah. I mean, it would be good in like a what's the Blinky Rhino?
Rune.
Rune. This would be great in a Rune deck.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that, but like I think this is like a standard all-star in it. I just happened to crack one and I had it lying around. I actually cracked this in Richmond, Virginia, and it does everything you want, right? Like it blocks it. I use this mostly, it's in the yeast just because it has all these abilities to it, right? And I
Sure.
think it's just because it has those abilities, it's gonna win you the game. Like that's why I put it in here more than the fact they're just gonna be punching face with it. It's just brutally efficient in everything it does.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, what's your second yeast card? Hopefully a unique thought, and it's not my last card.
All right. I'm trying to think. I know it's not that one. I know it's not that one. All right. I'm gonna go with this one because this is how
You
I
should
think you
already
can
have
win the
these
game.
picked.
I do. I know. I'm just looking. I'm looking through and just trying to think of like which one you have. Why are you rushing me? We're 40 minutes in. We're speed
Because I gotta
running
wake
this.
up at 3 a.m.
Is that really how early you have to get up?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, this card's really explosive, and I have killed people in it in Prosh like 400 times.
Oh.
Chandra's Ignition.
Oh. Huh.
It's a blowout. Chandra's Ignition, 3 colorless, double red for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. So the reason why this card is insane in this deck is because I had you talk a lot about all these moving pieces that I always talk about, magical Christmas lands. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes once a year Christmas comes true, and I had a 1818 Raggadragga and had the mana left over to do Chandra's Ignition. and, and it felt awesome. So this is something where it's really plays into the extra mana you have lying around. If you can get this going with Raga and something else, you can really control the game.
Mhm.
I got that done on like turn 6 or something along those lines. This was my favorite card in Prosh. This is my favorite way to win in there. RIP, my big dragon boy. But here it fills the same gap, right? We're gonna be able to make Raggadragga big enough through counters, through playing these 7 spells, having our creatures untapped, ready to go again, all that jazz. This is something that's really gonna take the game over and really bring the hurt to all of our opponents.
I think in your magical Christmas land, yes. But I would classify this as a spice only
Oh,
because
okay, sure.
if you're doing it for the number you're talking about, you either have to win the game on the spot
Yeah.
or you've just board wiped yourself. because that's going to kill
Right, right,
all of
right.
your creatures. So if it was only to creatures your opponents control, totally get it. But it is going to do it
Yeah.
to all creatures. And so to me, this card becomes too much of your own rattlesnake card of like,
Oh,
when's the right time to do it? Like, I want to do it, but wait, I'm going to lose 3 of my 5 mana dorks. But then if you wait even
right.
longer, you're going to lose even more.
You're gonna,
So
yeah, because you keep playing them out. So
yeah, so to me, this card's a little difficult to navigate.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe it.
All right, well, my last one is an enchantment that gives menace.
Nailed it.
I really like it. Gruul War Chant.
You like this one? Okay,
Yeah,
good. People out here are idiots. I was like, I think this card's great.
it's great in this deck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gruul War Chant, 2 colorless Gruul, so that'd be your red and your green. It's an enchantment. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 and have menace. So the reason I like it for this deck is because your commander is already untapping all your mana dorks and
Right.
giving them vigilance, and now they're going to have menace, and they're getting +1. So
Exactly.
now it's you can't even just 1 for 1 and maybe try to prevent the damage. You're going to take 50% of whatever I'm sending at you because you're only going to be able to block half, most likely, because
Exactly.
you're gonna do smart attacks. So I
Right.
like it. It's gonna it to me, this is a card, and this sounds a little crazy. It's kind of like because I know you don't have it in here, overwhelming stampede. It's like I'm playing
Yes.
this
Yes.
when I can win the game or make a explosive, take someone from 40 to 10. You're waiting for that
Exactly.
kind of moment.
Oh, and again, like I said, I like this more. I think this is going to be a deck. So the one of that I have in here is Triumph of the Hordes. I don't really like running that card that much anymore. I sold a bunch of them, thanks Tice, and I like this. I like this one better because it's I think a way that this deck is a way that this deck is efficient is chip damage, right?
Mhm.
4 damage here, 5 damage here, 6 damage here, like attacking, 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 then playing your spells, putting your defensive ups. And I think just giving that menace or giving that form of evasion, excuse me, makes it just so much easier to go through. So I'm glad you like it. People out here are like, why are you running this? It's some bulk uncommon. It's like, yeah, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Suck on that.
Now, granted, I think there are arguments that there are rares and mythics that are better than it, sure. But
Sure.
when you're not trying to have all of your decks look the exact same, this is a great way to change it up and still be super impactful.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, what's your last East card?
I thought this is the one. I thought this is the one that I was going to get you duped in on, and that one is, which I think is another real cute card in here, is Kamal's Will. 3
Mm.
colorless and a green for an instant. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast this spell, you may choose both. Until end of turn, any number of target lands you control become 1/1. Scratch that 3/3 creatures with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. They're still lands. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to that creature. So for me, we're playing in green. I'm gonna get my land drops. We're gonna have that problem to go. You board wipe me, whatever, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
cast Raggadragga, get this going, and this is gonna be another way to help close out the game. It's a card that I really like. It's in decks that it absolutely shouldn't be. A deck that I just was actually deck repairing earlier today. But the fact that those lands get those +2/+2 as well, just turn this into something that you can really beat face in kind of out of nowhere. So for me, I think this is a big, big closer card.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Just being honest. Um,
Really?
I think it's a cool removal spell at instant speed because all of your
Sure.
lands essentially are pinging the thing down to death. Um, and you do have a few go wide synergies like Beastmaster Ascension, like Triumph of the Hordes. So it's like
Right.
maybe, and I'm not. I don't believe I'm cutting it, but this might be one of the cards that I would cut for another just big creature or
Yeah.
big enchantment, just something that could be a little bit more impactful. I think this is cool, and if this is like the 97th card on the list, and you got a bunch of other stuff you'd rather get through, yeah, leave it. But if you're
I
starting to
gotcha.
look for picks to take out, this might be the top of my list.
Maybe something that's a little more on the spice side than the win side.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right, I gotcha. I gotcha.
All right, everyone. Well, we're going to be leaving the yeast package, and now we're going to head over to the spice. And there's only two, so I'm gonna go with the first one. Tuck,
Yep,
you go with the second one. It's pretty
you
simple
got it.
stuff. Um, a lot of times, collective with a deck of Girlfriend's Past or a deck that you've just built, there's not a lot of spice because it's like you've kind of tuned it down to that. And then
Right.
it's like over time, cards become a little bit more cute or you find things you want to put in there. So Tuck thought Benefactor's Delight or Drought would be a
Drought.
cute card to put in here. I think it'd be better if it was Benefactor's Delight. That sounds
I know,
delightful.
right?
And this is a colorless green instant and untap all creatures until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card, draw a card. So the thing I find cute about this is you could actually tap all your mana dorks first main phase, do all the stuff you want, then do this, then go to combat and still get the
Right.
untap with the vigilance. And then, if you wanted to put some cute ways in to where it's like you force all of their creatures to block, set up
You're
the
right.
advantageous blocks to draw a bunch of cards.
Blurs, that
But
sort of thing. Yeah.
I'm more looking at this as like a ritual. I'm gonna pay
Yes.
2,
Yep.
and whatever amount of mana dorks I'm getting, that's how much floating mana I'm getting, because then they untap and I can still use them for other stuff.
Exactly, exactly right. The other super cute thing is it's just an opponent controls blocks. So if you're stuck on mana and you don't have any creatures, and someone swings in, you could draw a bunch of cards there.
That's
I
fair.
had a bunch of these, and I had a bunch of these in Wort to untap my creatures to copy spells again. And I saw in some of the Raggadragga builds, they also had a bunch of these in here. I don't think that's the way to build it, if I'm going to
Mm,
be honest. I just kept this in here mostly because you could draw 10 cards off of it if you get lucky, or you could just like funnel in for a big comet storm or something along those lines too. So, but it's kind of got some mixed utility, which is exactly why it's in the spice.
yeah, no, for sure. All right, Tut, give us the other one.
Praetor's Council, spice card through and through.
Yep.
5 colorless, triple green, sorcery. It's a mythic for $4. It's a mythic. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Praetor's Council. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. It's a big splashy spell. This The reason why it's in the spice for me is that there's a chance that this doesn't do anything for half the game, right?
Hmm.
Like if you get board wiped, sure, it goes back to hand. But if you get board wiped, you're out of all your mana dorks anyway. So it's not like you're gonna be able to cast this and do a bunch of other shit. It does fit the 7 mana
Yep.
bump, which I do like, right? So that's why for me it's a spice. It could really accelerate you from a board wipe, but that's kind of it. It's a very reactionary card in my opinion, which
Hmm.
is why it may kind of be a dud.
You'd have to tweak the deck a bit, but have you thought about making this an all permanence deck and just using the one? Oh gosh, what's that sorcery? The
Oh,
with
Primal Vigor.
Thank you. No, is it Primal Vigor?
Is
No,
it
the one where it's like you put all of the permanents out.
Primal
Primal
Surge?
Surge. That's what we're
Is
talking
that it?
about. Yeah,
Yes.
Primal Surge is the
I th-
8 colorless green,
yes.
exile the top, and then you keep doing it until you get all the permanents out. I don't know. I mean, like that. I know that's a very boring way to win, but that might be something to look into because you already have a bunch of permanents in here. You'd only be
Yeah.
losing maybe 10 instant
10
sorceries.
cards.
So,
Which you don't really need. Yeah, like that. It's definitely an option here. That's kind of I already have a deck that kind of wins that way, which is why I'm initially
sure.
hesitant on it. But it's the same idea, right? Like you just cut out every card that you cut out. You either put in a mana dork or a 7-drop creature or
Or
non-permanent. Sure.
why don't you do this? Why don't you just hot swap Praetor's Council for this? And it's like, look, I don't play
Yeah.
an all permanence deck. I'm gonna fizzle at
Oh
some
yeah.
point. Like it does make it different. That could be kind of cool.
I do like that, and I do think Primal Surge is amazing, right? So being able to Primal Surge, fill out the rest of your things, maybe hit a Concordant Crossroads, sub that in, and then win
Yeah.
the game. That is a very very cute way to win it out.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the spice package. And now we're going to head over to the bottle capping. And as a reminder, these are big Texanized cuts and adds to the deck that'll be under $5, under $50, and a no budget recommendation. The only restriction is no mana only lands. So, Tuck, you go first here. What are you cutting and what are you adding?
This one's really easy because this card does not work. It is a 2-drop human shaman. I guarantee it should be on your list. If it's not, I'd be very surprised. We're
Yep.
cutting Burning Tree Shaman or Burning
Burning
Tree
Tree
Emissary.
Emissary. Yes, we are for
Yes,
sure
yes.
cutting that.
So for those playing the home game, it's gruul, creature, human, shaman. When it enters the battlefield, add gruul. It's a 2/2. I did not understand how the rules worked with Raggadragga when I put it in here, and I swore up and down that this card was going to be good. It is not. It's not. It's not good. It's got to go. Pretty much no way up and down about it. This card is really good in modern. It's really good in like kitchen table 60 cards because it can accelerate you. Was an all-star in tiny leaders. Not a good card in this deck. Not a good card at all.
All right. Yeah, and I have nothing else to add. It's
You're there,
literally all.
yeah.
It just
Okay.
doesn't work. So
Yeah,
what are
it's
you
just
adding
okay.
in?
So I'm adding in a card that is not yet printed, but you can get for pre-order for about $1.60. I think this card is probably one of the new all-stars coming out of it, and that card is Llanowar Loam Speaker. So it's fresh off the presses from Dominaria United. It's a colorless and a green for a creature elf druid. It's a 1/3. So already a 2/5 is pretty solid with Ragga. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, and then also tap target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land, activate only as sorcery. So the reason why I like this card so much is because it ramps you. It plays into the things you want, and then also it can turn one of your lands into a 5/5 beater. So it's got a lot of utility in it. For me, it's the same mana cost as Burning Tree with like none of the drawbacks, and it pumps itself up. So I like this card a lot. It plays into all the elf synergies that I have in here. The few that I do that matter. Pretty much for me, a straight upgrade.
You know, it's kind of funny. You know, you only have like 11 elves in the deck.
I could have way more, and I
I
think that's the way
know,
that.
but you're talking about elf synergies. You actually don't have that many.
Do you think it's worth? Okay, so let me ask you this while we're on this: is it worth putting more in? Because
If you're going to leave the ones you have in, yes. But if you're going to start
right,
stripping some of those elves out to do nagas and other druids and other mana producing creatures, artifacts even, then no, I would say, you know, you could probably get rid of some of those. But it's just right now you're at that fringe number to where it's like, man, it would be so
yeah,
good if I was able to get one of these out. But you only got 11 of them, and you don't have that many ways to make elf tokens. So
right,
that
right,
would be
right.
one I would maybe consider swapping around a little bit.
Okay, all right. What do
Uh,
you got for your first cut, Mister Combo?
Well, you know what my cut is. It's Burning Tree Emissary,
Burning Tree.
exact same. And I took what you said to heart. And so we're going to be adding in Cauldra Complete. So
Oh,
it's such a good card in this deck.
oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good.
So 7 colorless,
Wow.
you can get it for under $5 at 4.39. Costs 7 mana to cast. It's legendary artifact equipment mythic. It's a living weapon. It's indestructible.
Wow,
Equipped
wow,
creature gets
wow.
+5/+5 and has first strike, trample, indestructible haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature and equip for 7. So it literally is doing every single thing you want this deck to do. It's a 7-drop, so it triggers your commander. It's colorless. It doesn't even matter what kind of mana you put into it. The equip 7 does suck. I'll admit that. But the +5 and all of those effects, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's so good.
Well, that just turns Ragga like okay, so it comes in and has a huge impact, and then if you have the mana left over, just slap it on Ragga, and now he's like your new win con, right?
Yep.
Like he's gonna start slapping in for 9 damage a pop. That's almost unstoppable. Plus, if you cast it and pop it, yeah, that's as they say in the Italy's, a very good. It's a
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, and the only other thing that I think the most important part about this equipment is actually the indestructible piece. I think getting
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Raggadragga indestructible is so powerful, and it's going to be so
Yeah.
difficult for people to deal with. Or if you want to go back to your pet card, you put this on Dawn Regent, you basically become you can't touch me.
Oh God. Yeah. Whoa. I love it. I love it.
All
Slam
right.
dunk.
Well, under $50 is here now. Are you cutting the other slam dunk doesn't work in this deck, Mana Dork?
No, because I like that one. I still
Ooh.
stand by that one. I still like that one. I still like that one. But instead, I'm gonna cut a card that I forgot was in here. I'll be honest. Cultivate. Adios. Too slow. Way too slow. What? What are you smiling at? What are you smiling about?
I mean, I feel like you still need ways to get lands out because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want it to be late game and it's like
I know.
land,
I've said
land.
I've said this. I have this. I had the same argument with local Ken. But I think okay, for those who don't know, cultivate is 2 colorless and a green for a sorcery search library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal them. Put one in the battlefield tapped, one in your hand, and shuffle. Even if I was gonna keep this in, I don't have like Nature's Lore or a bunch of the other 2-drop ones, which I think I like better than this. Or I have Nature's Lore, but I don't have 3 visits. I don't have rampant
Yep.
growth and that sort of thing. So if I was going to cut that, if I was going to cut this for that, I'd do that. But I think that there's one that's even cuter.
All
And this is
right.
a card that I've been looking for a way. I've had my eyes on this guy all the way since Magic 20. It's $3. What's the favorite thing that we like to do before we even start the game?
Talk shit about Throne of Eldraine.
Correct. Second thing. What do we have to do
Uh,
from our hand?
make sure we have a keepable 7.
We like to play ley lines. We like to play cards for free. And this one has all of the things in here. Here we go. Leyline of Abundance. 2 colorless, double green for an enchantment. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green, which is good enough, in my opinion.
Woo.
Then it gets better. 6 colorless, double green, repeatable deal. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. For me, this doubles in our game plan of the creatures that we're going to be tapping for mana anyways, right? It doubles them up for effectively free. And then if we have leftover mana where we don't want to attack or don't want to do anything, at the end of someone's turn, we can always just pump up our whole army, getting them to that beautiful 4 thing, priming them up for Silk Guard, all those sort of things. So for me, this card has such a huge upside and very little downside, especially compared to something as generic as like Cultivate.
Well, like, okay, so would you be okay paying 4 for this out of hand later in the game?
Oh, I think so.
Okay,
I think
okay.
you. I think so because you still need ways to accelerate out of it, right? Like,
Mhm.
I think this is to your point. Even if this is a bit of a dead draw later game, right? Like turn 7, 8, you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But even early on, if you can ramp it out on turn 3, on turn 4, on turn 5, you're going to see the benefits so far in. And especially compared to like Sandward Convergence and Gruul Ward Chant, I think this is going to be more juicy targets for your creature for enchant removal. And this is going to be something that's going to stick around the whole game.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just, sometimes I think us commander players, we see, hey, play this for free. And that's just like where we
Yeah,
beeline. That's just like where our eyes laser into. And it's like,
right.
well, you have to remember, it's like your gemstone caverns. Like my argument against that,
Mm,
like the card's trash because you can only have one of them in your deck and you don't even get the
right.
effect if it's not in your opening hand.
If it's not in, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so sometimes, like Leyline of Anticipation, I've started to say, okay, yeah, it would be great in this deck, but am I really willing to pay 4 for it later when I could actually be doing other stuff
Oh,
to advance my board state? So that's why I asked you that question, and it's great to hear where you're like, no, I think I still would like get the benefits. And Tuck, I actually think your late game argument doesn't work. I actually think it's great late game because by then you're probably mana flooded, and you're once again you're drawing
oh,
land,
yeah.
land, fuck me, land. Now it's this for 4. How much mana can I produce? 28. Counters on
Yeah.
everything. Let's go to
Yeah,
town.
game over for
Yep.
sure. Oh, nice. I'm glad you
All
like it.
right. My under 50. I'm cutting the Arbor Elf. It's out of here. Colorless creature elf druid. Tap untap target forest.
Oh,
Yeah. Did you think I was talking about something else?
I did actually. There's one that you can tap and it adds a colorless.
No, 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 no. That's fine because it's still a mana ability. This is not a mana ability. So
Oh, it
literally,
isn't?
no. It just untaps a land.
I didn't even think about that.
I know you
I was
didn't.
like, you have to have all of the basics. You have to have Land of War, Mystic.
Yep.
I don't even have Elvish Mystic in here. Oh
Nope.
my god.
So I don't need to go into it, collective, but Burning
Yeah,
Tree Emissary, it's the same reason that's getting cut. It's the same reason Arbor Elf's getting cut. It just doesn't
yeah,
do anything in this deck. And I would
yep.
say this, I would consider it, Tuck, if you're like, well, part of my mana package is Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, and Nykthos. Because then it's like, okay, maybe you're like untapping
Yeah,
Nykthos as a forest to try to like pile in the mana, but you're not doing any of that. It's just
Nope.
there.
I sure am not. Yep, you nailed. Yep, you got me. I have no defense. Indefensible on
So
this
how
one.
about a 10 drop that cascades, an Apex
No,
Devastator?
yes, Apex Predator, baby.
Yep. So 8
Wow,
colorless
slam dunk.
green creature Chimera Hydra. And the thing is a 10/10, and I already said it. You get to cascade 4 times in a row,
Yeah,
which effectively in this deck we should be able to 50% of the time do a spell 7 or bigger. And so 10, we're triggering our commander once. Out of those 4 cascades, ideally we trigger it 2 more times. Something's getting plus 21 that turn.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me that doesn't
Slam.
get you excited.
Nope. Hey, guess what? Have you ever heard of this website called TCG Player? Have you
Yeah,
ever
I
heard of?
have. Also, I've heard of abyssproxyshop.com. Both of them, I think you have carts in excess of the GDP of America.
Correct, but I don't own an Apex Devastator, so I need to. I've been meaning to buy one because I think this card's sweet. No further. No, I've counselor. I have no further questions.
Yeah. All
No
right,
further.
Tuck.
Just absolutely nailed it.
No budget. In tradition, you go first, anyways. But let me tell you, I got a three for you on the no budget. I got the boring, I got the weird, and I got the what the hell. So I want
I
you to
love it.
go first, and then I need you
I
to
love it.
sit back, maybe even undo your pants because you're just about to get your just everything
Just get,
knocked off.
just get buckled in. All right. Well, you're gonna like this one for starters. I'm gonna cut Harmonize. Don't need it. Don't need it.
I mean, how much card draw are you getting in this deck?
Arguably enough, but I don't need this one. Like, there's better versions than this out there. This is a leftover. 2 colors, 2 green, sorcery, draw 3 cards. We can do
Yep.
better. We can do better out there in
All right.
collective. Um, I'm starting to turn around on this one, but well, excuse me. Talking about our enchantments. This is a card that I think needs to be played way more often. I've only played it once and seen it once because 3/3s are good, but 6/6s maybe bigger or even better.
I think by that math, 12/12s are bigger, right?
I agree. And that's why you got to run out your boy Unnatural Growth, all-star in this deck. Colorless, quadruple green, won't matter. Enchantment at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Turn all of our boys even bigger. Turn our defenders bigger. Turn Raga bigger off of one 7 drop. Raga becomes a 22/22 with trample.
Woof.
Seems pretty solid. And this is the first time reading the card explains the card. I never read at the beginning of each combat. So all right, well, I got defenses for days until you guys can come and try to swing through it. So
Yeah.
for me, it seems like an easy addition in a deck. When I play this, I've struggled with just having the 3/3s and the 2/2 vanillas guys. Just trying to get through damage. So the fact that we have something like this that's over every time at such a low opportunity cost is just going to come in and is just going to break face.
I really like it. I like it a lot, especially because your commander untaps all of your mana dork attackers. So
Mm-hmm.
you literally always have defenses up. There's no unless you just get greedy and want to use them all in second main phase, which I would assume you're doing so to further advance your board state to where you have the blockers.
Exactly.
This is kind of reminds me. I think this is a bigger scale, but a bit of like my angelic skirmisher that I play in Karametra, where it's beginning of
Oh
each
yeah, you love
combat,
it.
all my creatures get trample, first strike, or lifelink. Like I'm like, okay, on my turn, it's always going to be vigilance or whatnot. But then on all of yours, it's like, am I bigger than you? If so, it's lifelink. Are you bigger than me? I'm probably going first strike. And then people are just
Right.
like, well, I don't want to swing at you. You have first strike, or
Right.
you're
Yeah.
going to gain a bunch of
You
life.
give them no option. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All
Love it.
right. So here's the card I'm cutting that also doesn't make sense in your deck. Skull Clamp. You got to take it out.
Oh wait, is that still in here?
Yep. So
Why do
colorless
I have
artifact
that? Oh, I
equipment.
remember why.
Equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards, equip 1. It is a good card, but the thing that, our collective might forget about, but Tuck, maybe he does remember it, with Raggadragga giving that +2/+2 to all the mana dorks, which would be the creature small enough to kill with Skull Clamp.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to kill him with Skull Clamp. It's the same reason why I don't run
I
into my Shirai deck. So
leftover from it was really good in Wort to kill all my goblin tokens when I needed it. Honestly, I think I just didn't even think about it. So yeah, adios skull clamp, no questions asked.
All right. So here we go. We got the boring pick. This is just the slam
Okay.
dunk, aggravated assault, 2
Yeah.
colorless red enchantment, 3 colorless red, untap all creatures you control. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. It's about $40. The reason this
Oh
is
my
the
god.
slam dunk is because your creatures are untapped. You tap all your mana dorks because they were able to untap going into combat.
Yeah.
Now you can tap them, float all that mana, put it into aggravated assault. They all untap, and you effectively have infinite combats as long as they can't pick
Yeah.
off your mana dorks. So it's a very
Yep.
boring one, but I think that
But
just
it's very
makes sense.
good. Very good.
All right, here's some fun. Yon Shao the Indecisive. 4 colorless red, legendary creature, human soldier, horsemanship. Each of your creatures can't be blocked by more than one creature. And then on top of that,
Interesting.
remember, you have, what's it, gruul.
Oh, gruul war chant.
Gruul War Chant. It's kind of like my Greven deck. You become unblockable.
Right.
So now you got
Interesting.
unblockable
Very
creatures coming
interesting.
through, just banging face. So I thought that's kind of neat, but also at the same time, you know, I would imagine if I'm one of your opponents and I see you doing this stuff, I will start to combo block to try to take out your bigger, more intense things. So
Right.
this is kind of a way to force that. And hey, now you got horsemanship. You know, who doesn't like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's cute.
And,
Why not?
and for a
I
cool
like it. I like it.
$220.
The funny part is I wish this costs more.
Why?
Like I wish this cost 7.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you meant in
You
dollars.
know what I mean?
I was like, what?
Oh god, no. No.
All right, here's my last one. Here's my weird one. Force field. Let's go. 3 colorless
What?
artifact.
What are you trying to break
Pay 1.
me?
The next time an unblocked creature of your choice would be dealt combat damage to you this turn, prevent all but 1 of that damage. That is insane. And you can get a collector's one for a easily $110 or a legitimate
It's
copy for
beautiful.
$650.
I like. So is your thought here that you attack in, you have all this stuff unblocked, and now you can just tap all your creatures to prevent the damage to you, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, effectively, the way I'm looking at it is you should always be always swinging hot.
Yes.
Your commander
Always.
gives the vigilance. But here's the thing, when we build our decks top down, as I like to do, people are going to get rid of your commander, and it's going to become difficult. So this force field really becomes like the pinnacle hop card in your deck to protect you from just blowbacks.
Oh, yes.
And I love the fact that it's only 1 mana to prevent all but 1 of the damage. It's not pay a mana to prevent 1 damage, just you got to pay 10 to prevent 10.
This is what you do when you're doing rebuilding. You have nothing but a bunch of 1/1 mana dorks, and you're like, all right, cool. For each creature you attack me, I'm not even gonna block. I'm just gonna take a damage. There you go. Merry Christmas. Now I will say this: the $650 price points more than my proxy and TCG player combined. So maybe I'll be able to trade for it when I keep breaking down decks. But I think it's really cute. I think this is a way to keep this game going longer if I need it to, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this deck wants to go out quick, but there's times where you just get board wiped, you get unlucky with your draws, and you just need something to keep you around for a little bit longer. So I like it. It's cute. It's very you. It's very you.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for making it until the end. And if you enjoyed it, please leave some positive feedback, especially because this was our first episode where we're actually doing the card text and art on screen while we do the episode. So, you know, if there's anything you'd like to see done differently, if you'd like to see this on our other segments like Hot Takes and Fblthp, just let us know. And if you'd like to get a hold of us, here's how you can do that. You can get a hold of me at Mr. Commodore 5 on Twitter, all spelled out except for the 5. BigTuck, you've obviously been busy, so you obviously don't have a gimmick. How about this? People will hear it a week later. What's your gimmick for this weekend?
I think. I got it. I used to do this in high school. I'm gonna take pictures when people look bored. Like it's just it's like they're not. It's just their faces are just like in concentration because a lot of times, like during these photos, you're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, all this stuff, right?" But mine are just gonna be able to people just like, or just like on their phone. Oh no, I got it even better. I'm gonna take a picture of of when people are on their phones. That's gonna be my thing. Whenever
Oh
someone gets
God.
their phone out, I'm taking a picture of it. And you can see that at BigTuck tweeting on the Twitterverse. I have been very inactive these last 2 weeks, so there you go.
You can always get our main account where we do post going live posts. We do post on Sundays our weekly streaming schedule and content schedule. So at CMD Tower on Twitter as well. We also have a website where this deck list and videos and links will be posted at cmdtower.com/BNBE153. Basically, type in the Comet Storm Mirror Pool Dwarven Mine Tower.com. And remember, we have a myriad of ways you can support us. If you'd like to do that, patreon.com/CMD Tower. Etsy.com, CMD Tower in the search bar, and abyssproxyshop.com, CMD Tower code for 10% off. All three ways are ways that you can monetarily help this channel grow and just stay afloat. If you want to see us constantly improving, bringing on new guests, enhancing our equipment, those are the three ways that you can do that. So, Big Tuck, uh, Ghosts of Dex Pass, Raggadragga, Goreguts Boss, kind of your old gruul. First off, do you feel that it does feel like a different deck than your old deck? Second, do you think you're going to recomb the deck for synergies that don't actually work because they're not mana dorks? And then third, how did you feel about the capping?
I this is a fun deck. Actually, I do like playing this one. It's very much more my style. Like I said, if I want to play Wort, I'll just play Calamax. It just does it
Yep.
better. Pretty much up and down the board. So that was an easy pick for me. There is, yeah. I think the problem, part of the decks of girlfriends past that I have is I get really excited and I'm like, how fast can I build this? Right.
Sure.
And these are the cards I have. I have this pile I'm cutting out. I'm putting this pile in. And sometimes you miss these things, like how Arbor Elf is a complete nombo in this. And I literally have 5 cards in my green bulk bin I'm looking at right now that I could put in that's better than that. So that's solid. The capping also is slam dunks. I think Caldra and Apex are both really strong, especially the best one of all of them is Apex. I
Yeah.
think I'm not as hot on aggravated assault just because
I get
it's a
it.
good way to win. But the Apex Devastator is a slam dunk, no questions asked. Calder's also a slam dunk, right? I think the most linear way to win this deck is going to be through Ragga and getting him pumped up and giving him all that shit off of Cauldron is so strong. Apex pumping out like pretty much my win cons and all my other permanents. It's just insane. So those two are definitely coming in. This is a deck that I think I'm going to start putting a little more effort into when I have the time to think through it. And hopefully, maybe I'll be able to make a few cuts this very evening, and
Ooh.
you will be able to see it this very weekend.
Well, yeah, I think we definitely it definitely feels different than Wort. So I think slam dunk across there. Definitely, I think we need to recomb it, see if there are any other synergies that don't actually work. And actually, Tuck, it might be something where you put Paradise Mantle in here. If there's one that you really like and you want to turn it into a
sure.
mana dork, maybe you do that route. And then the bottle capping, I think you had some really, really good smart ones. I like that ley line of abundance because that kind of is a mana sink later in the game. And unnatural growth is just fantastic. So, aggravated assault, I would just say have it as your 101. And if you play the deck a few times and it's like, man, I cannot close out games, I think you just have to bite the bullet. And sometimes you have to put the boring in-game card in your deck just to be safe.
Just to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you if we survive my bachelor party weekend. See ya.
Unlikely. See ya.
All right. And that is going to end our audio recording. We are now wrapping up our Twitch and YouTube stream. So thank you all so much. Oh, Chart Spark, of course, get handed. By the way, Tuck, even our guests had to remind me on SCR to get handed. And I was like, why are you telling me to get handed? I just kept forgetting. It was hard. It was a lot of stuff to juggle.
Streaming's hard. Hosting streaming's insanely difficult. So you got me there.
It is very difficult, but
It's exhausting.
we are going to go raid someone right now. I think we're gonna go do the ham TV. Why not? This could be bad, but we'll see all of you guys next week. See ya.
Target lost.